The Red Snow. Chapter 1. Ashford. Before the silence broke, Ashford, Colorado, had always been the kind of American town people forgot unless they lived there. Nestled between two long mountain ranges, it survived on tourism in summer and isolation in winter. The kind of place where mornings smelled like pine and nights were so quiet you could hear your own thoughts echo. Ethan Walker had grown up there. He didn't leave after high school like most kids. Instead, he became a park ranger for the surrounding national forest. He liked silence. He trusted nature more than people. That trust would not survive November 12th. The first sign was subtle. A shift in color on the mountain ridge above Ashford. At a distance, it looked like rust spreading across white stone. At first, Ethan thought it was sunlight reflection, but sunlight doesn't move like that. By sunrise, the entire upper forest had changed. Snow that should have been white was red. Not bright, not artificial, but deep organic crimson. Like the earth had started to remember something it was not supposed to remember. Ethan stood at the edge of the ridge and said nothing for a full minute. Then he radioed the station. "Something is wrong on Ridgeline 7. No response prepared him for what came next. Chapter 2. The Town That Refused to Believe. By mid-morning, Ashford was awake and alert. People gathered outside cafes, hardware stores, and gas stations, pointing toward the mountains. Sheriff Laura Bennett arrived at the ridge by noon. She had been sheriff for 12 years, long enough to know what panic looked like. This was not panic. This was confusion trying to become fear. "You're telling me the snow changed color overnight?" she asked Ethan. "I'm telling you it wasn't like this yesterday," he said. A group of tourists took photos. Some laughed nervously. Others posted videos online, calling it a mountain sunset effect. But locals didn't laugh. They knew snow didn't behave like that. By afternoon, the county called in environmental specialists. By evening, the state government was notified. By nightfall, Ashford was no longer a quiet town. It was a question no one could answer. Chapter 3. Dr. Helen Carter Arrives. Dr. Helen Carter arrived from Denver at 2:13 a.m. She was a microbiologist specializing in environmental anomalies, though she had never encountered anything remotely like this. Her first reaction was disbelief. Her second was silence. Her third was fear she did not show. She examined samples under controlled conditions in a mobile lab set up outside Ashford. Within hours, she made a discovery that changed everything. "It's not snow," she said. Ethan frowned. "It looks like snow. It mimics snow," she corrected. "But it behaves like a living system." Sheriff Bennett crossed her arms. "Define living." Helen hesitated, then answered honestly. "It responds." That single word changed the atmosphere in the room. Responds. To what? Nobody wanted to ask yet. Chapter 4. The Expansion. By the third day, the red snow had expanded beyond the ridge into lower forest zones. It did not melt under sunlight. It did not freeze further at night. It simply replaced. White became red. Red remained red. Animals began avoiding the region entirely. Wolves were seen leaving territories they had held for years. Birds circled the town but refused to land in affected zones. Ethan began mapping its spread. The pattern was not random. It followed underground water flow. Something beneath the earth was guiding it or feeding it. Helen studied the samples again and again until she stopped speaking for nearly an hour. When she finally spoke, her voice was low. "It's adapting faster than anything on record." Ethan asked, "Adapting to what?" Helen looked at him directly. "Human presence." Chapter 5. Blackridge Mine Returns. Old records were pulled from Ashford archives. Ethan spent nights reading documents no one had touched in decades. One file stood out. Blackridge Mine closed 1892. Cause of closure: collapse. But handwritten logs told a different story. Workers had reported red dust in deep tunnels, a strange pulsing stone, sound without source, miners refusing entry below level 9. Then the final entry: "It is not stone, it is aware we are here." After that, silence. Ethan showed Helen. She didn't dismiss it. She didn't laugh. She simply said, "We need to go underground." Chapter 6. Descent into Blackridge. The entrance to Blackridge Mine had been sealed with steel and concrete, but time had weakened both. Ethan, Helen, and Sheriff Bennett entered with tactical support. Flashlights cut through darkness that felt heavier than expected. The deeper they went, the colder the air became. Not physically colder, but psychologically oppressive. Then they saw it. Red traces along rock walls, not spread, not spilled, formed, like veins. Helen whispered, "It's not growing here. It's resting," Ethan replied. At level 7, communication devices failed. At level 9, compass readings stopped making sense. At level 12, they stopped hearing their own footsteps clearly. Something was absorbing sound. Chapter 7. The Underground Intelligence. At the lowest chamber, they found the core, a massive crystalline structure embedded in stone, glowing faintly red. It was not solid. It was layered, like memory stacked upon memory. Helen stepped forward first. The moment she touched it, she collapsed. Ethan caught her before she hit the ground. But she was not unconscious. Her eyes were open, and she was seeing something else. Chapter 8. The Memory Flood. Helen's voice came out trembling. "It's not alive like us," she said. Ethan asked, "Then what is it?" "A recorder," she whispered. "A geological intelligence. It records everything the Earth experiences." Sheriff Bennett looked uneasy. "That doesn't explain the snow." Helen shook her head. "It reacts when disturbed." Ethan understood first. The mine woke it up. Helen nodded weakly. "And it doesn't know how to stop reacting." The red snow was not attack. It was response without control. Chapter 9. The government arrives. By the 5th day, federal authorities arrived. A classified environmental response team took control of the perimeter. Officials demanded evacuation of Ashford. Ethan resisted. "This isn't just contamination," he argued. "It's something we don't understand." A federal agent responded coldly, "Then we contain it until we do." But containment plans were already failing. The red snow had reached groundwater systems. It was no longer localized. It was spreading beyond Ashford, beyond Colorado. Chapter 10. The Signal Beneath the Earth. Inside the mine, Helen regained partial consciousness. But something had changed. She could sense the structure now. She described it as thoughts without language, images without time. Ethan stayed with her while she spoke. "It doesn't see us as individuals," she said. "It sees us as interference." Sheriff Bennett asked, "Can it be shut down?" Helen hesitated. Yes, she said finally, but it may not survive isolation. That was the first time Ethan understood the real choice. Not survival, but consequence. Chapter 11, The Ethical Divide. The federal team proposed a full-scale detonation. Destroy the mountain core, erase the system completely. Ethan objected. You don't destroy something just because you don't understand it. A scientist from the federal team replied, and you don't let it spread across the continent because you feel bad for it. Helen stood between them. It's not trying to kill us, she said again. It's trying to interpret us. That sentence split the team. Some saw intelligence. Some saw threat. Some saw both. Chapter 12, The Final Descent. Ethan, Helen, and Sheriff Bennett returned underground alone. The federal team stayed above. This time, the crystal was brighter, more active, almost aware of their decision. Helen placed sensors. Ethan placed charges. Sheriff Bennett watched both carefully. Then something unexpected happened. The crystal showed them something new. Not memory, not warning, but origin. A time before humans, before mining, before Ashford. A world recording itself endlessly through stone. Helen whispered, It's not alien. It's Earth. Chapter 13, The Collapse Decision. They activated the charges, but Ethan hesitated at the final second. Are we sure this is right? He asked. Helen looked at him. No, she said honestly. Sheriff Bennett added, but it may be necessary. Ethan pressed the detonator. The explosion echoed through the mine. Stone collapsed. Passages sealed. The core was cut off. Chapter 14, The Silence After. Above ground, the red snow stopped expanding. Within days, it began to fade. Within weeks, it broke apart. Within months, Ashford returned to white winters. But nothing felt the same. Helen left for research abroad. Sheriff Bennett resigned. Ethan stayed because someone had to watch the mountain. Chapter 15, The Last Observation. 1 year later, Ethan returned to Ridgeline 7. The snow was white, perfect, still. But beneath it, he swore he felt something. Not movement, not sound, something closer to awareness waiting without urgency. He wrote one final note. It is not gone. It is paused. Then he left. Final chapter, What the Earth Remembers. Deep beneath Black Ridge, sealed beneath miles of rock, the crystal remained intact in fragments. Not dead, not active, just waiting. Because Earth does not forget easily, and some things buried in stone are not meant to be fully silenced, only understood. Closing note. And that is the story of the red snow. If you enjoyed this story, stay connected with this channel for more deep, mysterious, and cinematic storytelling content like this. Don't forget to subscribe for more upcoming stories. Good luck, and thank you for being here.